Hey guys, it's Jeremy again. I am back again for another book review. Yes, finally, another review, and this is on one of my favorite books. And this time it's going to be on Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the first installment of the Mercy Falls series, or the Wolves Mercy Falls series, whichever you prefer. And that is the awesome cover and the spine, and as usual I'm going to read the inside synopsis of the book because it's hardcover, so there is no back synopsis, so yes. The cold. Grace has spent years watching the wolves in the woods behind her house. One yellow-eyed wolf, her wolf, watches back. He feels deeply familiar to her, but she doesn't know why. The heat. Sam has lived two lives. As a wolf, he keeps the silent company of the girl he loves, and then for a short time each year he's human, never daring to talk to Grace until now. The Shiver. For Grace and Sam, love has always been kept at a distance, but once it's spoken it cannot be denied. Sam must fight to stay human, and Grace must fight to keep him, even if it means taking on the scars of the past, the fragility of the present, and the impossibility of the future. And that is it. As I said, this is the first book in the Mercy Falls series by Maggie Stiefvater. I picked up this book at a store called Hastings back when I was still living in Oklahoma, and I actually bought the soft cover of it for about $5, and I read it, and then I picked this one up when it was on the bargain section for $8, also at Hastings, and I've been a lover of this book and as well as this series for the last 2 years. And this book follows two characters named Sam and Grace. But I feel like our main character is Grace, sort of, kind of. This book is told in dual perspectives, so one chapter goes into Sam's perspective while the other goes into Grace's, which is really, really interesting, and I love books that do that. And this is an epic werewolf series. This is the first ever series that is solely about werewolves. It's not about vampires and werewolves, or witches and werewolves, or goblins and werewolves, if you're into that kind of fantasy realm that is in that's in the adult fiction section of the world. But this book is about Grace, and she always watches these wolves in the winter time because they're there, and they're kind of basically by her backyard, really, because they're in the wolves that are behind her house, and she always feels very she feels like she knows these wolves, mainly this yellow-eyed wolf. She's always kind of looked at this wolf feeling like she knows this wolf, and vice versa, and the wolf that knows her. Excuse me. So it was really, really interesting to read this because I've never ever come across such a profoundly simple story with such diverse characters. Because it was such a simple storyline, but the characters really surprised me. We have Sam, who is this amazing guy who he knows what he wants, but he's afraid to want it because he's afraid of what he wants is going to hurt so many other people. And then we have Grace, who is a very strong-willed character who she wants this with Sam. She wants to be with Sam. She wants to know about his world. She wants to be all immersed, and she ends up kind of taking care of him a lot. He kind of, when he's human, he kind of stays with Grace in her home, and it's just such a thought-provoking story because there is a lot of wolves in the town of Mercy Falls. And what's really one of my favorite parts of this book is this is set in Mercy Falls, Minnesota. I just found, when I first read this, I didn't really think anything of it, but when I was rereading this in terms of finishing the series just this past week, I was like, this is so funny. There's so many amazing parts in this book. I just loved it. I loved when they went to the candy shop. I loved the bitter coldness that is described in this book, because if you guys are familiar with super cold, snowy weather, I could definitely relate to this, especially this past winter. It was so freezing all the time. So I definitely got to kind of understand that aspect of the novel, and just there's so much going on, because the main part of the book is trying to keep Sam from shifting all the time, because something is going on. A sickness lies on this one wolf named Jack, and he's shifting all the time. He can't control it, and he has to not be around actual people when he shifts, or the entire werewolf world is going to be exposed, and everybody's going to know that werewolves exist, and that's not good at all. And of course, there are hunters out there that view the wolves as dangerous beasts that should no longer be a part of the wolves of Mercy Falls in the woods. And so there's a lot going on. There's a lot of intense characters. One of the characters that I probably found the most interesting was definitely Isabel. She definitely brought a very interesting take to this story, which I was not expecting. I'm sorry I'm not selling this book very well on what a really good story this is, because I watch a lot of book reviewers who spoil everything for this book, and I don't want to do that. I don't do spoil book reviews. I do non-spoil reviews. So all I can basically tell you is pick it up. I know this has been around for years, so probably the chances are you guys have probably already read it already, but even if you haven't, I do recommend you at least get it cheap. You can get the paperbacks. I think they're at $7-8, I think. But overall, this is a very good book, and I really enjoyed it. But that is the cover. I love these covers. They're so simple. And I like how there's a wolf right here. I love the heart. I just love everything, if you can see that cover. It's really pretty. And then there's the spine of it. And then the back continues that. And there's a quote on the back that I'm going to read to you guys. And then I opened my eyes, and it was just Grace and me. Nothing anywhere but Grace and me. She pressed her lips together as though she were kissing, keeping my kiss inside her and holding this moment that was fragile as a bird in my hands. Yeah. Very, very nice quote. I love the quotes that are on the back of these books. They're so sweet. But on the inside, I think this is really pretty. She also kept with this design, and you can see the inside flap with the Synopsis has that, and it's blue here. Another thing, if you notice in your copies of it, the text of the book is blue. I don't know if you can see that. It's actually like this type of blue, which is really neat. And another thing that the book has, besides alternating between our two main characters in this book, is that each chapter has the perspective. See, this one is in Sam, and it also has the temperature outside, so 41 Fahrenheit degrees Fahrenheit. And this one, there's a lot of Sam chapters in here. I'm trying to find. There we go. And then this one is chapter 23, which is in Grace's, and this is 52 degrees Fahrenheit. So I just thought that was another kind of bonus little sneak peek into it. It was really, really interesting to kind of read that, because you can kind of see how cold it is outside depending on the chapter. I really, really enjoyed this book. It was an awesome book. Awesome first start to a really great story. I have read this whole series already, and I was thinking about just doing a series review, but it's one of my favorite series, and I wanted to do individual ones. So that's my review of Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater, and look for my reviews of the next two hopefully very soon. And that's my review for today. Let me know what you thought of the book, if you loved it, hated it, what was your favorite chapter, what was your favorite part. My favorite chapter would have to be chapter 1 and 2, because they're very short, but they're just, they started this beautiful story, and I loved the way she wrote this book. Yeah, that's my review of Shiver, and I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope I said something that would make you guys want to go ahead and read this, because it is a very good story, and I really enjoyed it, and I know others who very much enjoy it as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys next time.